Shamsher Diwan, Vice President of Corporate Ratings at ICRA. Shamsher, thank you so much for joining us. So, materially, what does this mean for the logistics sector now that they've been given infrastructure status?
I think I agree with your colleague on most of the points. Granting infrastructure status to the logistics sector is a very positive move, especially in wake of the fact that the logistics in India is characterized by high inefficiencies, both on the transportation as well as on the storing and warehousing space. So getting infrastructure status will have multiple benefits. One of the prime benefits that we see over the near to medium term would be access to credit. Infrastructure companies will be able to raise not just loans on competitive basis, but for longer tenure. Secondly, infrastructure companies are also able to refinance their existing borrowings with some sort of specialized institutions such as the development infrastructure companies. It also opens up an opportunity for companies to raise foreign borrowings through the ECB route. So overall, I think it's a very positive move, especially for the value chain within the logistics, which focuses on asset-intensive business models.
Shamsher, can you explain this funding, cost issue a little bit more? Hypothetically, yes, they can raise money cheaper via ECBs, right? Domestically, would their rates come down? And if so, what is your sense? Would it be 100 basis point differential, more than that?
See, I think, yes, it is true. I think both domestically as well as from foreign avenues, funds can be raised at competitive rates. Now, that's primarily to do with the infrastructure status. So companies will be able to raise funds from the banking sector, because it falls under the priority sector lending. So the infrastructure companies have the eligibility over there. So the extent of benefit could be between, I think, 50 to 100 basis points.
Okay. Shamsher, so
of course, the extent of benefit would depend upon the current cost of borrowings for companies. And as it is, I think the interest rates have fallen, and companies have over the last 1 to 2 years benefited from declining interest rates as such.
Okay. So would you look at this with this space? Would you review the space once again? Would this space get re-rated? Because obviously the financial will look different. They're able to access capital at a much lower price. Does that mean you see this entire space getting re-rated?
So as I said earlier, I think the prime benefit will come to companies which have an asset-intensive model. And by asset intensity, I mean companies which are engaging in developing warehousing infrastructure, multimodal logistics parks such as ICDs or CFS, or even, there is a lot of trust by e-commerce logistic companies in setting up fulfillment centers. So companies which are engaged in these areas would have better access to credit and at competitive rates. At ICRA, we have a stable outlook for the logistics sector, and I think that will hold.
Would you anticipate that some of the individual firms within that logistics sector would, there would be a move towards a higher rating, perhaps, if the funding costs fall, if cash flows improve because they can borrow for longer tenors? Would there be a slight tendency towards upgrades on some of these firms?
Well, it will be a very company-specific, decision. In rating process, not only just the cost of borrowing, but many other factors are considered. So it's a decision taken by our rating committees based on multiple factors. So I won't really be able to comment on whether this particular instance can lead to rating triggers.
Okay, Shamsher, just a last question on the kind of growth that this segment has seen, the logistics segment. What are the numbers looking like? You've been looking at the sector over a period of time. Has growth in this segment picked up?
Yes, so we've recently reviewed the performance of companies during the H1, and I think there has been improvement in the growth momentum compared to the previous year, and that's been driven by sectors such as automobile, FMCG, even e-commerce side, though there was some softness there on a YOY basis, but still I think things are holding up. We have an overall outlook of 9 to 10% the near to medium term as far as growth is concerned.